If you look at the most viewed video on my channel right now, you'll see that it's my top 25 Nintendo Switch games video from August of 2021. It's got every other video beat by a pretty wide margin, so obviously I followed up on that, right? Right? Okay, some mistakes were made, but over 2.5 years later, and with a successor on the horizon, I figured, yeah, I should probably update this list. This list was compiled after plenty of time, energy, and thought, and represents what I believe to be the very best that the Switch has to offer. I will also be adding whether a game is new to the list, or how it has moved compared to my last video. So without further ado, here are my picks for the top 25 best Switch games. Mario Kart 8 is one of my most played games on my Switch. Still to this day, I play it when I have people over, because it's the game to play with everybody. No matter your skill level, you can have fun with Mario Kart. Plus, it's best on Switch with new content as well as all DLC from the Wii U version included. Every year I pray for a new Mario Kart, and my prayers were semi-answered with the absolutely excellent Dash Pass content sprawled out over the last couple years, but here's to hoping the Switch 2 gives us the Mario Kart Ultimate of my dreams. I feel like Celeste had its heyday back in 2018 when it launched, but since then has been mostly forgotten. But it by no means should be. This game combines challenging, and I mean challenging, platforming gameplay with a beautiful story surrounding mental illness and self-discovery. It's an absolute must-play for platforming fans, but really everyone in general. The pixel art is gorgeous, the soundtrack is utterly beautiful, and its lead creator, Maddie Thorson, is one of my favorite developers in the industry. It may kick your butt sometimes, but I promise you, it's a worthwhile experience that you'll regret not having. Another underappreciated game from the Wii U era, Bayonetta 2 finds its true home on Switch. Clearly inspired by the Devil May Cry franchise, the Bayonetta games take the action genre and bring it to new heights, even more so with the second installment. First off, let's all agree that we thirst for Bayonetta. I mean, look at her, true girl boss. But more importantly, the gameplay is fluid, the soundtrack is among the best in the industry, and even though Bayonetta 3 couldn't quite live up to its predecessors, the franchise still hasn't missed. Not too many IPs out there that can say the same. This is probably cheating, but whatever. What's better than one Bayonetta game? 2 Bayonetta games! This combo pack, released at launch, delivers the perfect package for Switch, and it is among the most essential of purchases for the system. The first game remains an absolute delight to play, and the second kicks things up to an 11. With this duo, you get the prime Bayonetta duology, and, well, the rest of the games are up to you. They aren't featured in this video, I'll say that much. My baby. I have a special place in my heart for Three Houses because I love so many characters in this game, Team Golden Deer all the way. Featuring one of my all-time favorite stories in any game ever, Three Houses completely blew me away from start to finish, and because of that, I'm constantly recommending it to everyone. Of all the major Nintendo franchises, Fire Emblem is probably one of the less popular ones, likely due to its tactical elements that can be a turnoff to more casual players. But Three Houses features a plethora of accessibility options for all kinds of players, so even casual fans who just want to experience the story can have a blast. And trust me, a blast you shall have. But be prepared, I shed many tears at this game. It's a touchy subject for me. No one can deny that the Original Sin subseries of Divinity is a CRPG, meaning it's definitely a PC game. It was number 5 on my best modern PC games list, and I'll be dated, but still great list. Almost like I should update that one soon too. But honestly, I had a hell of a time playing the definitive edition of Original Sin 2 on Switch. It's one of the deepest RPGs ever made, with a ton of intriguing story and rich combat alongside an actual good character creator for once, as well as just frickin' beautiful visuals, even on Switch. Add in the ability to take it on the go, and Original Sin 2 solidifies its place on this list. A staple of the JRPG genre, Dragon Quest has been around for a very long time. Yet 11 was the first one I actually played. Boy am I upset I waited this long. This definitive edition of the game is certainly the best way to experience it, with hundreds of hours of content, a beautiful 2D mode for nostalgia, and absolutely solid gameplay that's been perfected by the franchise over decades. Combine that with a wonderful symphonic soundtrack, and you have one of the best RPGs ever made. While I did own a Wii, I was 7 at the time, so I never really had any of the big Wii games people talked about. So, having repeatedly gotten my butt kicked by Shulk and Smash, I was pumped when Xenoblade Chronicles was re-released for Switch, and I gotta say, it was worth every penny. To start, it comes with a dozen hours of new story content. Like, what? 8 years later, and we get an expansion on a completely new system 2 generations later? And it's good? Absolutely bonkers. But the game itself features fantastic gameplay and quest systems, along with fine tune-ups from the original that earns it that definitive title. It's a fantastic adventure, and one surely worth having in the newest generation. Now, I'm gonna need y'all to hear me out on this one. It's 2024, and guess what? It's okay to be a furry. Released a few years back, Winds of Change is a beautifully well done visual novel, serving as both a wonderful fantasy tale involving a ton of furry culture, as well as representing the entire community in a meaningful way. Furries have faced a lot of ridicule and even persecution over the years. While progress has been made, many still believe the community to be freaks or even sexual deviants. Games like Winds of Change are part of a larger movement to help showcase the love and beauty of the furry community, and I think everyone should experience this and things like it. The furry community is brutally misrepresented and misconstrued, and are simply a group of oftentimes very loving and sincere individuals looking to express their own passions and enthusiasms just like anyone else. So get on the furry hype train and play this well-made visual novel, and take those steps to be a more accepting individual overall. Because I can promise you, life is so much better the more positivity you put into it. Chained Echoes is the Shovel Knight of JRPGs. There, I said it. For those that don't know, this game came out of nowhere back in 2022 and completely blew away fans of retro role-playing games. It's a phenomenal blend of old-school turn-based RPG gameplay with all the modern gameplay enhancements we've come to know and love. It's also rendered with absolutely stunning 16-bit classic sprite work. Some may consider this old-fashioned at first glance, but trust me, the game looks and plays absolutely divine. Following a story set in a world with full-on dragons alongside mechs, it's just a completely baller Final Fantasy-style JRPG that fans of the genre should not sleep on. While it may have taken much longer than anticipated, the Pikmin franchise came back in a big way over the last few years, culminating in the release of the highly anticipated Pikmin 4. And yeah, it was worth the wait. Nintendo knows when to put the work in, and they definitely felt the pressure after such a long wait between installments, so everything you know and love from the previous Pikmin games is back, alongside fresh new gameplay features and environments to make arguably the best game yet in the franchise. With added night expeditions, new Pikmin to discover, and intricate upgrade systems to utilize, the Pikmin IP is truly thriving on Switch, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Even the most devoted Sonic fans know that the franchise has had a devastating roller coaster of a journey. Following a tumultuous string of releases over the last decade, Sega decided to take a different approach. To celebrate the game's 25th anniversary, Sega literally enlisted famous Sonic fan game and ROM hacking community members like Christian Taxman Whitehead alongside indie developers to create Sonic Mania, a wonderful homage to the classic Sega Genesis Sonic games, featuring several redesigned levels alongside a suite of updated and new content. The Plus expansion also adds new characters, modes, and reworks, crafting the definitive version of perhaps the definitive Sonic game. You are truly depriving yourself of greatness by not experiencing this absolute gem of a game that celebrates everything that made Sonic a household name. Also, mega super deluxe shout out to the Studiopolis theme track, aka one of the greatest pieces of video game music ever created. While I've sunk plenty of hours in Mario Kart, it's got nothing on my Smash time. No game in my Switch library comes close to my time with the best platform fighting game ever made. I'm not even good at it. Every attempt I make at playing online ends in humiliating defeat, but I'm constantly having the time of my life either learning new strategies with fighters, viciously competing with my friends, or just having pure chaos in the living room. Smash Ultimate is the true masterpiece of a fighting game, and even though its DLC fighters may have come to an end, my sessions with it are far from over. My most anticipated game of 2023, Tears of the Kingdom, did not disappoint. The Majora's Mask of Breath of the Wild, this sequel expands on nearly every single aspect that the first game introduces, while changing things to not step on its predecessor's toes. And I think that's the aspect I like most about the game. Never does it feel like it's trying to one-up the previous game or leave it in the dust. It simply feels like taking the template introduced by Breath of the Wild and taking it in a completely new direction, and that's what makes the game truly special. This game was well worth the wait, and a must-play for any action-adventure fan. Another returning game from my best modern PC games video, Hollow Knight is a great fit on Switch as well. With a beautiful art style, intricate soundtrack, and addicting gameplay, this game is a phenomenal Metroidvania on the platform. It's definitely a challenge, but for those up for it, it's 100% worth your time and money. Will of the Wisps is literally just more Ori, but even better. That's not to say that Ori and the Blind Forest, the game's predecessor, isn't good, or that it should be skipped. I'm just saying that Ori and the Will of the Wisps is one of the best Metroidvanias ever created. It's jaw-droppingly gorgeous, fun from start to finish, and just a straight-up serotonin injection to experience. This is the 4th time this game has popped up on a list of mine, and I'm sure it won't be the last, because it's a masterpiece. Probably the least known game on this list, House in Fata Morgana should absolutely not be missed whatsoever. I know that there's a lot of distaste towards the visual novel genre, since it does lack that traditional gameplay feel, but trust me when I say that this game will suck you in from the moment you start. Featuring a complex gothic tale surrounding a cursed mansion and dealing with deep, dark themes like insanity and human nature, House in Fata Morgana is truly beautiful in a twisted way. It's one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had in a game, and you'd be an idiot not to pick this one up. We finally got Metroid Prime on Switch, y'all. This console has truly been the revitalization platform for almost all of Nintendo's IPs at this point, but one of the biggest ones remaining has been the Metroid franchise. While we got the excellent Metroid Dread back in 2021, Metroid Prime Remastered marks the beginning of peak Metroid's return to the living room. This game is not only one of the best FPS games of the 2000s, but it's also possibly the greatest remaster of all time? The game has gotten a significant facelift as well as modern gameplay tweaks that make the game the definitive version of an all-time classic, as well as bringing in a completely new generation to discover one of the GOATs. Now remaster 2 and 3 already, you cowards! This is a bit of an odd pick, I'll admit, because the actual base game, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, doesn't show up on this list, but it is very good and you should definitely check it out if you're interested. But the absolute peak of the entire Xenoblade Chronicles franchise came with the game's final DLC, Future Redeemed, and it may be one of, if not the greatest JRPG content ever made. Featuring a story that brings the entire trilogy full circle, Future Redeemed brings the story built over 13 years to a satisfying and meaningful conclusion. Xenoblade Chronicles has been a series that has gained steady traction ever since the very first installment, and this expansion finally delivers the masterful crescendo fans never knew they needed. At the pinnacle of gameplay innovation, story depth and precision, and masterful presentation, Future Redeemed is a legendary piece of media that will go down in the history books. I made an entire video talking all about what Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown does so well. You should definitely check it out. I worked very hard on it, and I tried to make it as unique as possible, serving as a definitive encyclopedia of information surrounding the game's development and significance for the Prince of Persia franchise and Ubisoft as a whole. So yeah, go watch that next if you haven't already. But to summarize, The Lost Crown is the best Ubisoft game since Black Flag, and the best Prince of Persia game since The Sands of Time. Every single human being needs to play this game, I'm dead serious. Ubisoft has been in a steady decline over the last decade, like it or not, but The Lost Crown is the first legitimate sign that Ubisoft can still innovate and deliver truly groundbreaking experiences, and that needs to be displayed and appreciated. Please, please support Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, I'm begging y'all. If Hades is on a platform, it's gonna end up on my list. It's as simple as that, because it's just so good and I gush over it constantly. It is the best roguelike ever made, period. Its addictive gameplay, phenomenal story, and gorgeous art bring it all together to be completely, undeniably amazing. Plus, I know I'm biased because I'm obsessed with the Greek pantheon, but after this game, who isn't? Also, in a shocking twist, Supergiant is making their first ever sequel with Hades 2, aka my most anticipated game of 2024. While it will only be entering early access on PC in Q2, it's sure to hit consoles at its full release, so keep your eyes peeled, because I'm sure we've got another banger incoming. Crazy enough, Tears of the Kingdom wasn't even Nintendo's best game last year. That title goes to the game that came out of nowhere, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The first new traditional side-scrolling Mario game in 11 years, Wonder has once again proved the age-old statement that Nintendo has some of the best developers in the game. With some of the most dynamic level design in the business, Super Mario Wonder goes for style and substance, with stunning visuals alongside fun and constantly surprising gameplay. There's something for everybody to love here, and it's a great game for the entire family, hands down. Breath of the Wild completely changed the gaming world as we know it. Any and all open world games that have been released since have been compared to it, and for good reason. It's really freaking good. It still holds up as one of the most beautiful games on the system, and the freedom you have in the game itself is dang near limitless. Making yourself soar through the air in a minecart using the Sheikah Slate is absolutely brilliant, and something the devs never even thought of. But it was able to happen due to the physics engine in place. Not only is it a brilliant game by design, but it's just an amazing experience that everyone will enjoy. It's a must-play for any Switch owner, especially if you haven't yet in 2024. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I used to be a Super Mario Odyssey hater, but I definitely was not obsessed with the game at launch. I was still in my Breath of the Wild heyday, and I really think comparisons to each other hurt them both, because they're completely different games. But just looking at Odyssey, it's a perfect celebration of Mario's legacy through and through, including references and gameplay from practically every adventure with the Italian plumber, plus plenty of new ways to experience the most popular character in gaming. It's impossible to play this game without having a smile on your face. Any and everyone can play, and it's the perfect introduction to the capabilities of the Switch. Both Portal games are widely considered to be two of the greatest video games ever made. The original Portal is a whopping 17 years old at this point, but revolutionized the puzzle game genre as we know it. It was one of the first games to use momentum as a puzzle-solving mechanic, and still holds up to this day. The final sequence of the game is also considered one of gaming history's greatest moments. Not to mention that most people don't realize Portal takes place in the same universe as Half-Life. Then, Portal 2 came along and made literally everything even better. There's much more of a deep, intricate story involved that affects the way you interact with the puzzles. There's also plenty of new gameplay mechanics that add even more of a wow factor to an already masterful game. One of the most superb co-op experiences ever made in a game was included with the sequel as well, which makes for an even greater time. They also run at a silky smooth 60 FPS on Switch, delivering a fantastic way to play the games even on the go. I know it may seem questionable to put two games from previous console generations at the top of my list of best Switch games, but they are easily the best games ever to be released on the system, as well as just some of the best pieces of media ever created by man. Thank you so much for watching. What'd you think of my picks? Do you agree? What are your favorite Switch games? Let me know down in the comments below. And before you go, I just want to give a few quick shoutouts. Huge thanks to Rogue Energy for sponsoring the channel and making a really great product that keeps me going. Anyone who knows me knows that I can be pretty picky with who I represent when it comes to sponsors. I don't want to advertise anyone or anything that I won't actively use, but I'm happy to say that I use Rogue Energy all the time to give me that boost when I need it. If you hop into a stream of mine, I'm most likely sipping on that strawberry kiwi or blue raspberry flavor in my Legend of Vox Machina themed shaker. If you want that focus boost, or you just want to stay hydrated with their caffeine-free flavors, Rogue Energy has got you covered. So definitely check them out using my affiliate link and code PandaMaster to get some sweet discounts and some truly awesome products. Every purchase you make helps out the channel so I can keep making videos like this and so much more. So thank you. I also want to give a quick mention to my friends at Humble Bundle, because I am super proud to be able to say that I am working with such an amazing company that has touched so many people's lives. For those that are unaware, Humble Bundle is a site that offers bundles of games, books, software, and other digital goodies for super cheap prices, with a portion of said price going to fantastic charities making a legitimate difference in the world. I'm serious, these people have raised hundreds of millions of dollars for those in need. They are truly doing some incredible work. By using my affiliate link, not only are you getting some great stuff and contributing to these same charities, but you're also helping support me as a creator as well. So go find your next obsession. They even have an entire digital storefront as well, so there's plenty of awesome stuff to find that also supports great causes. Finally, I wouldn't be anywhere without you guys, so thank you for being here. If you've been with me since I first started making crappy videos all the way back in 2012, or this is your very first video, thank you. It means the world to me to be able to create something special that people take time out of their day to watch, and I hope I can continue doing this for as long as humanly possible. I've got plenty more awesome stuff coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned because it's only going to get better from here. Once more, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in whatever it is I'm doing next time. Alright, see ya.